He Ghost Fleet of the Atlantic, an invisible army that saved America. Imagine a war fought not with tanks and trenches, but with inflated rubber, painted wood, and theatrical stagecraft. Picture a secret army that never fired a shot, yet played a critical role in saving the Allied cause during World War II. This is the astonishing, true story of the Ghost Army, the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, a unit whose existence was classified for over 40 years and whose legacy is one of the most creative military deceptions in history. The year is 1944. The American and Allied forces have landed in Normandy and are fighting their way across Europe. The German military, despite suffering heavy losses, remains a potent and cunning enemy. The ultimate goal is to break the German defenses, and to do that, the Allied generals knew they couldn't just rely on brute force. They needed to trick Hitler's best commanders into deploying their troops in the wrong places. Enter the Ghost Army, a unit of 1,100 men, many of whom were recruited directly from art schools, advertising agencies, and engineering firms. Men who were artists, designers, set builders, and sound engineers, more comfortable with a paintbrush than a rifle. Their mission was simple, yet utterly audacious. Impersonate a force of 30,000 men, 2 full divisions, to misdirect the Germans about the true location and size of Allied deployments. They were deployed close to the front lines, often operating under terrifying conditions where a single slip-up could mean capture or death. Their work was divided into 4 stunningly effective specialties, creating a masterpiece of military illusion. First, there was visual deception. The soldiers of the Ghost Army were masters of camouflage and prop creation. They inflated gigantic rubber tanks, trucks, and artillery pieces that weighed less than 100 pounds. From the air, or even a distance on the ground, these hollow rubber props looked identical to real combat vehicles. They would inflate a whole motor pool of tanks, leave convincing-looking tracks in the mud, and then deflate them and move the whole division in a matter of hours, only to reinflate them miles away. The sight of a full armored division suddenly appearing and disappearing was profoundly confusing to German aerial reconnaissance pilots and ground spies. Next came sonic deception. This was perhaps the most high-tech and surprising element of their operation. A small team of sound engineers using state-of-the-art recording equipment created a library of audio effects. The roar of tank engines, the rumble of troop trucks, the commands of officers, and the general cacophony of a large military unit. They would play these meticulously engineered soundscapes through massive, powerful speaker systems mounted on half-tracks. Crucially, they played the sounds at night, when sound travels farthest and most eerily, to convince German listening posts that a massive armored column was moving into position just over the ridge. They mastered the psychology of sound, even knowing how to make the noises fade as a column supposedly moved farther away. The third pillar of their trickery was radio deception. A group of skilled radio operators deliberately generated phony radio traffic, the endless coded chatter between commanders and units. They perfectly mimicked the signature Morse code keys, the unique way an operator taps out a message, of real combat divisions, transmitting convincing, though completely false messages about troop strength and logistical needs. German intelligence monitored all Allied radio chatter, and this dummy traffic was often enough to confirm the visual and sonic illusions, selling the overall deception to the enemy's highest command. Finally, and perhaps most creatively, the men engaged in patrol deception. The soldiers would don authentic patches and uniforms of the units they were impersonating. They would frequent local cafes and bars near the front lines, subtly spreading false rumors about their 2 divisions, complaining loudly about logistical problems or their upcoming attack plans, all within earshot of known German informants. The information was always a mix of truth and fabrication, making the lie far more palatable and believable. The Ghost Army conducted over 20 major field operations, often mere yards from the actual front, always succeeding in drawing German attention away from the real targets. Their most critical mission was Operation Viersen, where they successfully impersonated two entire American divisions just before the Ninth Army's actual crossing of the Rhine River. The deception held, German forces stayed put, and the Ninth Army crossed with minimal resistance, a success that General Eisenhower later credited as essential to the final push into Germany. The unit was disbanded in late 1945, and the men were ordered to never speak of their service. They returned home and became the artists, designers, and innovators of post-war America, carrying their extraordinary secret with them for decades. It wasn't until 1996 that their records were declassified, revealing a story of immense bravery, cleverness, and the power of illusion in wartime. The Ghost Army proved that in war, a well-told lie, backed by a few rubber tanks and a powerful speaker, can be just as effective as 1,000 real bullets. This invisible army, made up of artists, not infantry, saved an estimated 15,000 to 30,000 American lives by successfully diverting German attacks. Their tale remains a profound testament to the power of American creativity and ingenuity when facing overwhelming odds.